Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the closing beat. The stock market's closed. This is our sort of update that we do every day on the stock market. Just go over the news you might be seeing in the headlines, maybe some things you didn't notice in the headlines, and I'll try to teach you a little something along the way. Speaking of teach you something, if you're one of our customers, tomorrow in the Wine and Wealth class that we do, we are going to do the Rent Your IRA class. We're going to talk about what that means, why we've got you covered when we get you to retirement there. And so we're going to cover how it works, exactly what we do, where do you need to be by the time you get to retirement. And so any of you that have been wondering about the Rent Your IRA that we do for our retirees, well, we're going to cover it. We'll make it short. We always say in the time it takes to share a glass of wine together, I'll teach you something new. That's for our customers only. Tomorrow at 8 p.m., you will get an email with the link to the live class or the replay if you decide to watch it that way. If you've never heard of us before, my name is Dustin Tibbetts. I'm a financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers, and we do a lot of shows here. We've got 3 shows that we're doing now. FinVids, which is really short, quick topics to help you with a question you may have, whether it's what is a Roth IRA, how much can I put in my 401k, whatever it may be. That's that. We do the Dough Show live at 1 o'clock every day. We help you get your dough straight, teach you anything we can do to help you get your dough straight, because to be a good investor, you got to have your dough straight. And then at 5 o'clock, of course, as we are doing now, we go over the stock market, tell you how everything's going. We do get into a little bit of geeky stuff in this one, so don't be too turned off if you're brand new to investing. So if we start with the markets today, before we get into the geeky stuff, we've got the Dow higher by 89, S&P higher by 6, Nasdaq higher by 4. Look, you got Washington, pretty much quiet. There's not a lot of political news out there, not a lot of trees shaking around the world, so everything's good there. You've got the ability for investors to focus on earnings, growth, positive news in stocks. And so the rule is you never short a quiet market. And so if you know what short means, then of course you never short a quiet market, because a quiet market tends to trend higher. So these are not my sayings, by the way. When I say something new every day, just things I picked up along the way. So that's that. Hey, let's take a look at the charts. Let's go through it here and see what we've got. We like to share candlestick charts with you just so we can show the active traders a little bit something extra as well. We've got the Dow continuing to push towards highs. This is your lagger now. So all the talk on TV about, oh man, the market is close to all-time highs. Not the Dow. The Dow's got about 3 or 4% still to go. The S&P now, that one is within 1% of hitting new highs. I believe it's less than 1% now of hitting highs. And the Nasdaq, if you follow the Nasdaq, that one's about 1.5%, give or take, from hitting new highs. New highs being the bubble that you see on the chart up here. So all-time highs. The Nasdaq is about there. The S&P, here we go. Let me see. No, the S&P is all-time highs almost, right? We've got to get above this number over here, so you can see we've still got a little bit left to go, and then the Dow will deal with that when we get there. Now, a little bit of a statistic for you. On Wednesday, by the way, as long as the market does not fall more than 20% by Wednesday, okay? Stick with me, stick with me. I'm a stats guy, If the market doesn't fall by 20% by this Wednesday, 2 days from now, then it will officially be the longest running bull market in history. Started in 2009. Wednesday will be the anniversary of it being, or will be the day that it sets the record for being the longest running bull market in history, with gains of over 300% on the S&P 500. So it looks very likely that Wednesday will hit that. I just thought I'd point that out. That's pretty cool. So we'll see. 9 years, by the way. So good. Well, let's get into some of the other stuff here today. Gold continues to recover off those lows. What did we talk about? How many times did I sort of push and hint at the idea? I'm not allowed to make stock recommendations, but when a stock is downtrending, go back and watch all of our updates. When a stock is downtrending, you don't touch it. You don't try to pick the bottom. When it then falls off a cliff aggressively, then if you like picking bottoms, that's where you hop in and dip your toe in, okay? So stocks in the gold sector, you got starting to bounce back as well. Newmont, although it did close down a little bit today. The gold stocks trying to come back. Look at the gold mining stocks that fell off of a cliff. They were trending lower, and then they rapidly pulled away and fell. So gold continuing to make its recovery bounce. Copper last week, if you happen to, I don't know if you care, But copper fell into bear territory last week, or correction territory, and has officially been coming back for the last 3 days. I believe it added another 1.5% today. You can see it up on the screen there somewhere. Day after day, it's trying to come off those lows. What is that? Is that people believing copper is going to go to new highs? No, that's your short-term traders going, that fell too far, too fast. They're hopping in for that quick trade, and that's pretty cool. In the markets today, you had the banking stocks higher by about 1/3%. Do you remember what we talked about on Wednesday? I'm sorry, last Friday? Last Friday, we talked about needing tech and needing banks to push the markets higher in a really sustainable way. Well, we said banks, they seem to be happy with whatever. They're like a dog on a leash. You want to go left? We're going to go left. You want to go right? We'll go right. No problem. They don't seem to care at the moment. Very, very easy going in the bank sector. If we look at the tech stocks, they have fallen and pulled away. Remember the rubber band example that we used? Well, today it tried to fall first thing this morning. If you're one of our customers, go see our candlesticks class, by the way, where we talk about what these candlesticks mean. But this morning it tried to fall, but that rubber band was pulling it back towards the positive. If this starts to bounce over the next few days, that'll just take the markets higher right along with it, because I would figure that the banks would just go along for the ride. They really, really seem like they want to pop here, the banks. So I mean, I'm not saying to buy anything. I'm just saying it just seems like those two are about ready to start working together to push us higher. Okay, the big news of the day was Pepsi. Pepsi bought SodaStream $3.2 billion in all cash. Now, when a company buys another company in all cash, it's very easy to figure out what the share price is. It's about $1.44 for this one, which is basically where the stock price stopped for today. If you own SodaStream or have owned it, you're a happy camper, because from here today all the way back to their prior earnings, a 65+%. I believe it was 66% was the magic number in gains just in the last few weeks. So impressive. Personally, I don't know why Pepsi would want to buy SodaStream. Seems weird to me. I don't know. Why would you buy a SodaStream? It's a weird thing. Anyways, Tesla actually closed the day a little bit higher. So the stock was down lower today, basically because JP Morgan came out and said, hey, you know when Elon Musk tweeted a couple weeks ago that he was going to take the company private and had funding secured, as he tweeted? Well, now that we're finding out, really, he didn't have the funding secured. JP Morgan said, well, given that they're starting the process of going private and had never even thought about it prior to that tweet, they think that they're much further away from going private than they were, or at least that they hinted at. And so because of that, they lowered their price target. But listen to this, they lowered their price target to $195. They were at $308 as their price target, which is funny, which is where it basically closed today. They lowered it to $195, which is off the charts, like all the way down here. They dropped their price target by 30%. They're saying from here, the stock falls 30%, and that's what they expect. That is sort of a slap in the face. JP Morgan is pretty pissed. I'm going to bet it's because they didn't get the gig on being the advisor for going private, because Goldman Sachs got that. So I don't know. I don't even know if JP Morgan does that anymore. Okay, Nike. Nike broke to new highs today. Basically, the stock was upgraded by Piper Jaffray. Jaffray is how you say it. It's a well-known analyst there. A lot of people follow him. Upgraded the stock to overweight from neutral, and he said that they're more efficient with their inventory, which, remember, that was a big concern going back a few quarters now, and they're more innovative in their product pipeline. I think investors responded today to the being efficient with their inventory, because they had a lot of knockoffs, they had a lot of overruns, and so it seems that they're tightening that up. Good for them. Good for them. So with that in mind, that took a lot of the retail stocks that are in a similar category, right? So Nike kind of falls into athletics and apparel and sporting goods and stuff. So anything in that category, like Under Armour, that one went along for the ride too, because they kind of, obviously Under Armour participates in that same sort of sector. Kohl's being a big seller of both of those products, that was higher today. And what was the other one? Foot Locker, I believe Foot Locker was up another 2%. How many times have we mentioned that one already? That one keeps pushing higher. And that was probably the one I was thinking of, because I don't see the other ones in here. Anyways, Nike helping out the retail sector. Macy's, by the way, was your best performer in the S&P 500, recovering from this idea back here. Remember this being earnings? So Macy's recovering from that. Not too bad. On the downside, Do we have much negative to say? News Corp was in the news. Just kind of boring. It wasn't very interesting, so I didn't put it in our talk here. Walmart pulled back 1.89% today, but nobody really cares because look what happened after earnings. You get a 10% run after earnings. Totally normal for some of these people to say, wow, I owned the stock before earnings and oh, it popped. I made a lot of money. Totally normal for those people to want to sell and take a little profit. So I don't mind that as much. There we go. Also, airlines, some positive news out of airlines. So you got American Airlines higher, United Airlines breaking a new highs, Delta breaking the new recent highs. That's that breakout one that we talked about before. Love, which is Southwest Airlines, that one's basically been supporting the team thanks to Mr. Buffett increasing his stake in Southwest Airlines. So that's about all I got from there. Quick shout out to Amal, who I promised I would say hi to. All the way from Afghanistan, by the way. He says he's going to open an account with us, so I said I'd say hi. It's up to you, Amal. You got to keep up your end of the deal now. But the guy's stationed, not stationed, but working over in Afghanistan, watching us on YouTube. That's pretty cool. Small world, and happens to be able to call, talk to us and everything. I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's all I have. Remember, if you're one of our customers, tomorrow's Wine and Wealth, I know a lot of you have these questions. We're going to dig into the Rent Your IRA. I'm going to use the whiteboard. We're going to go over an exact example of a client. I can't tell you who it is, of course, but we're actually going to use the positions they have, where they have rented their portfolio, and specifically why we picked those investments. So it's really, really going to be an in-depth one. Of course, that's for our customers only. I can't do that publicly and share that kind of information. So we'll be doing that. If there's anything I can do for you, you hit the subscribe bell if we've helped you in a way. All that stuff I'm supposed to say, I can't think of it. I'll answer some questions if there's any. Why is it a lowercase Jazz? I don't know. I like lowercase Jazz. I think it looks cooler with the font, to be honest. Why does it need to be uppercase? I just like being different. Jazz musicians are known for being different, a little quirky, so I thought we'd put that in the name. What's going on, Cato? Welcome back. What do you think of cannabis stocks? Says TLRY, just curious, since they recently IPO has gone uphill in the past month. How much money do they make? Are they making any money? So, I'm not sure if I can pull them up. They are new, right? Give me just a second because I do believe they are new, and that's going to be sort of an issue, right? My key to these pot stocks, because you notice how they're sneaking back into the news? Bitcoin didn't do it. Nobody wanted Bitcoin, and nobody wants Bitcoin at the moment, and so the world needs something to grab onto, like what's the next hot stock or hot sector, and so you notice how these pot stocks are coming back into the mix? Don't fall for it unless they don't make any money. This is not a pick for me. They lose money every year. Sales of 23 million, they lose $12.3 million. Can't invest in something that loses money unless you are really confident that they're going to make a profit very, very soon. Hey, Paul. Had a question about why investing weekly is better. We did a class on that. Or actually, I've done a series of videos on that. But if you go back, I'm sorry, I don't know when we did it. If you go back a ways, maybe we'll do the class again. But we broke it down. We went back in history and said, what happens if you invested every month versus breaking it up and doing it every week? What would have happened? How would life have gone for you from 1970 till now? And we broke it down. We used the whole example, went through and found that you actually end up with about $30,000 extra over the long run. And so that's why. Yeah, you get to, there. Marissa's got the idea. So markets are fluctuating. Last week they fell a little, or 2 weeks ago they fell a little bit. This week they're up a little bit. If you're a monthly investor, you're just kind of banking on whatever happens at the first of the month or close to the first of the month. So that's part of the reason for that. All right, well, it is team softball night tonight, and so I'm going to keep the same shirt on. We're going to leave the office for a little bit and go play some softball. If you happen to be opening an account or in the process of doing anything, we'll catch up with you when we get back. It's the only night that we all get out of the office. You would think we would do it on a Friday, but it was only available for Mondays. So we'll do well, hopefully, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.